friend, welcome back to Her Empire Builder Show, where we dive deep into the mindset, strategy, and magic of building an epic online business your way. Today's episode is so good, and I know you're going to love it, especially if you've ever felt even the tiniest bit icky or confused about sales funnels, because we are joined by the fabulous Kate McKibbin, who is not only a multi-award-winning serial entrepreneur and self-proclaimed super nerd, but also the brilliant founder of HelloFunnels.co. Kate has this incredible gift for helping awesome humans, mostly women, fall in love with funnels that are simple, proven, and totally sleaze-free, which is what we need. Funnels that actually feel good to build, run, and sell through to make you money. In this episode, Kate and I are chatting about how to build funnels that are aligned with your values, what's working right now in the online space with Evergreen Funnels, and step-by-step strategies that you as the course creator can turn leads into paying students on, well, I would say autopilot as it gets. I don't think that anything is passive, but it is a very leveraged way to sell. Whether you are just getting started or if you are scaling your digital empire builder, can you tell that I say empire builder like 50,000 times next to each other? Whether you are scaling your digital empire, this conversation is going to help you rethink automation, simplify your systems, and I bet you will enjoy the process, because for me, I am very heavy on live launching. I love live launching. It's how most of our business has been built, but I love having Evergreen also at the side. And it is, like I said, the most leveraged way that we can build our lists, get audience into our programs. What I love to do is have those Evergreen programs that is fantastic for when people aren't quite ready for your signature course. And then by the time they do that, they're like, you know what? I love her. She's awesome. She has everything that I knew I needed. And so then when you're live launching, they're ready to go. So I bet you're going to love this episode and make some more money without as big an effort. Enjoy. Kate, welcome to Her Empire Builder.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited.
I love it. So we have actually just finished a retreat together for 4 days where I got to learn so much about you and your business and your funnels. And I recommend you all the time because I am so big on live launching and love everything to do with course creation. But my secondary is my Evergreen funnel. It's one of those things that always sit there that I'm like, yes, I need to give them some love. I need to do it. And you just have it absolutely nailed. So I'm very excited today to talk all about funnels.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like most people either seem to go hard on one or the other. I feel like for me, launches, again, they're like that. Yeah, do them if I have to. But
yeah. Well, I mean, like I always go, I would love Evergreen if I could get it to work as well as the results of live launch, which is why I love everything that you talk about.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, I'm very excited to kind of nerd out on all of this today.
Nerding out is my favorite thing. Yeah. So take us back. When was the moment that you realized that funnels were going to be your jam? Was it something strategic that you decided, or did you kind of just fall into it? How did funnels end up being the thing?
Well, it was sort of as one of those moments where I had to have a coach give me permission to do the thing that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
So prior to this version of business, because I've been in a version of online business since like 2007. So prior to this, I was doing a business called Secret Bloggers Business. So that was teaching people how to run their blogs like a business. Because prior to that, I'd had a blog. So, that kind of whole little journey.
Remember blogging, how fun that was?
I know.
Yeah. And life was simple back then, Kate.
And you just take a photo with a filter on Instagram, and it was your breakfast, and that was fine. And that was all you had to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, much simpler days. But so I'd kind of gone through that blogging sort of space, and the bit that I'd always really loved was the behind the scenes part. Like, my blog wasn't just a blog where you just published posts. It was a blog that I'd had this custom app built into so people could share bookmarks to things that they liked, and it had like added affiliate links to things automatically, and it was all this kind of nerdy stuff.
Ahead of your time.
I kind of made like a bad version of Pinterest before there was Pinterest. But I always like that. Like, that's kind of my happy place, that like, how can we make these machines get us this outcome? Like, I just find it like really, really fun. So like, I don't know, it's grown up Lego or whatever. And so I was doing a lot of that. I also kind of had the same thing with a lot of people had with that blogging space, that you're relying on a really unreliable and pretty unfun business model of having to sell your soul to different companies to spruik their content. And it was just giving crazy revenue dips. And I was like, no, I don't like any of this. So I'd started to create really basic funnels for our blog, because it was getting, like, we see a lot of traffic, like 500,000 visitors a month kind of thing. And so I was like, well, this is crazy. We should be able to do something more than just running banner ads. So basically, I've been playing with all of this stuff, and at the same time had been teaching this online course about how to do, how to set up your newsletter and how to create content and all the more basic sort of parts of blogging. And I had a coach at the time, and I was just like, I just don't love it. Like, I'm not actually loving the blogging in the first place. I love the course side of things, but I'm not that excited about what I'm teaching, because I don't love blogging as a business model. I've done it for a long time, and it was, a lot of work for kind of not that much reward. And the coach was like, well, what do you like? I'm like, well, I like this behind the scenes stuff. Like, I love setting up marketing funnels and stuff. She's like, well, why don't you just teach people how to do that? And I'm like, surely no one cares about, surely I'm the only person who cares about this stuff this much. And she kind of just, planted that seed. And pretty quickly after that, I was like, no, I think that's the thing. And
it's the thing that you find so much easier than most people find as well, which is what makes it the perfect thing.
Yeah. Like, to me, it's just very, I don't know. I don't know if you can be born being good at funnels, because babies don't tend to have that much experience in it, but I just always, my brain just works this way. Like, I like that kind of thing. Other side, like, don't show me a thing. I did. And
that's what we all aspire to.
And it's so much fun. Like, it's, I've been talking to lots of, obviously we're at the mastermind, and other people in the space who've been in the space for a long time. And I know a lot of people are feeling like really tired and stuff right now. And I'm like, I just love it. I just want to keep going.
Not me. I'm having fun with funnels. I love it. So you do talk about, I've seen you talk about sleaze-free funnels. What does that mean to you personally? And is there a part of your story that kind of shaped that philosophy?
Well, I think that was the other kind of story I had about saying I help people with funnels, because funnels, like, historically have got a pretty bad reputation. The bro marketing sort of style of funnels, where you land on a page and you've got a 15-minute countdown timer, and then you go here and here, and it's just, I feel like, yes, they work really well as a reason that people do them. Yeah. But I don't think you ever want to have your, any experience that someone's having with you, either as a lead or as a purchase experience, and have them coming away going, oh, that just didn't feel good. Yes. And I've kind of realized, like, over time, that everyone actually sort of has a bit of a different sort of level of, just like how they like to be marketed to. Like, some people love a discount. Other people think discounts show something is not very valuable. Some people love to do things live. They're like, yes, give me a live event. I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to show up. And other people are like, I want to be able to do it in my own time. So I think there's definitely, and this is my kind of, I don't know, my motto anyway, but I feel like the kind of marketing that you probably enjoy consuming and being a part of, because you generally attract people similar to you, is like, if therefore people coming into your world, not all of them, but I think a large portion of them normally will probably have a similar level of comfort around the different types of, marketing tactics you can use. Yeah. So that's why I sort of say to people, if you don't like a countdown timer, don't use a countdown timer.
Saying that though, like, I mean, we just closed live launch last month, and it always, because I'm the first to buy. If I want something, I'll make the decision, and I'm like first in on the early bird. I get all my bonuses. Like, that's what I like. It always blows my mind how many people come in the last 8 hours. always, every single launch, I'm like, what are you still thinking about? It's been a week. Like, what are we still doing? But always about 30 to 50% of our entire 8-day launch comes in the last 8 hours. And this is why I think, when you're doing Evergreen, those funnels, although I went through a stage in going, I don't want to do countdown timers. Like, they're that sleazy thing, or they scare me, because especially if it's not real, and people are put into the fake ones. I always took a lot of issue with that. But I also understand that people need that incentive to take the action.
Yeah. Well, I'm absolutely pro giving people a deadline.
Yeah.
And it has to be a real deadline. But I think, and that's one of those, like, I feel like with marketing, like, you've got so many different levers you can pull that can increase conversions. But I don't think people should ever pull a lever just for the sake of increasing conversions if it doesn't sit right with them. Because if they're ever going to be like, oh, I just hate this, then they're not going to feel good about promoting it. And so it's not like the same with, creating your offers or your pricing or all that stuff. Like, I feel like it's always got to be in alignment. So yes, I 100% love countdown timers. I've tested them. They definitely increase your conversions massively. But if you just can't make yourself feel good about them, then there's other tools in the toolbox that you can use.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we have one of our Evergreen programs that I literally say, this is not going anywhere. It's here when you need it.
Yeah. How's that?
Take it, leave it, all up to you. Yeah, that's it. So when you were building Hello Funnels, what are some of the biggest mindset hurdles that you've had to overcome from a business point of view, and how did you move through those?
I think the first one I had to come up with was it's okay to do the things that you're seeing other people doing. Like, I definitely had a bit of a if everyone's doing a webinar, I've got to do something else.
So you're always trying to create something completely different.
Yes, which is just
hard.
I feel like there's a time and place for that.
Yeah.
But usually if you look around your market and everybody's doing a certain thing, it's because it works.
Yeah.
And why make life harder for yourself just because you kind of have this thing that is bad to be copying, when really, so that was a shift. It's like, not obviously copying is copying and you don't ever copy, but if you can see strategies and tactics that are working for people, you can model them and you can make them your own, and you can, I love to now let the market do the research for me, like whether it's pricing or particular different tactics or strategies. Like, anytime I see someone going on about some shiny new thing, I'm like, no. I want to see a long-lasting trend, because I also want to make sure that whatever it is we're putting time into is something that's going to last, and it's not something that's maybe just working this week because there's been a tweak in the algorithm.
Yeah, that's it. And have you found that that's changing rapidly because of AI coming in so heavily?
I think the stuff that's changing for now, because I know we talked about this at the retreat as well, had a bit of an AI existential crisis about midway through last year.
Yes.
Where I was like, oh my gosh, we're not going to have jobs in 6 months time. This is, it's too good. Why would anyone ever need humans? And then
have you tried the image generation though for graphic design? I mean, it's just terrible.
No one needs 7 fingers, and
we're a long way off. We've still got jobs, I reckon, for at least a few more years.
Yes. And then, and it's just going to change. It's just going to, whatever it is, it looks like. So I think the biggest sort of change we've seen is it's not actually the, what we call the conversion events, whether it's a webinar or it's a live launch or whatever it is, the fundamentals aren't changing that much, but I think there are nuances. I think there's the actual offers adding in and leaning into all the benefits that you can potentially have with something with AI. Obviously, different markets have different needs, but you could potentially help your client to get an outcome twice as fast if you can give them the right AI tools, or and I think that kind of thing can just kind of help to give you a bit of a competitive edge.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do think the strategies and the fundamentals are the same, but the way we actually do them is so much easier and more leveraged now.
Yeah, I created a program the other day that was what I promoted all last month, and I was out on a walk with ChatGPT. Me and ChatGPT go for walks, and we just have a chat while I'm going for a walk.
Do you nickname yours? Does it have a name, or you?
I just call mine Chat. I know other people have got it's Chat or it's Claude, depending on.
I'm just wondering how far down the AI is my friend rabbit hole.
Right.
And you've made it your companion.
Well, I do get to do the voice to voice, and I've chosen the voice that I prefer. So it has like a human sounding
Yes,
voice.
I love that. Yeah, me too.
But it was crazy. It was like, I had an idea, fleshed it out, mapped out all the modules, wrote the sales page, wrote the email sequences, and I did this on a walk. Like,
beautiful.
That would take weeks.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you just get to be faster, which I really like.
Yeah. So a lot of women course creators that I work with can feel, especially at the beginning, a lot of resistance around tech and automations.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that way yourself, or you were like, it was your jam right from the beginning? And when you come up against women that have that and are like, oh, hang on, it's too much tech, I don't know if I can do it. How do you soften that for people?
Yeah.
Because I mean, now, like, it's so, it's just so much more user-friendly than it was back in the blogging days,
Oh, absolutely. Like, we were having to like hard code things. If you wanted to change the color of a button, you had to know CSS. Like, now it's the tools are amazing. So, no, I've always loved all the tech, and I sort of sound like I grew up bilingual, but my second language was technology, because my family is all like, my brother does computer game design, my dad was an internet service provider. Like, we were a very techie. We were like one of the first people to have internet in like 100-kilometer radius. So it's kind of in my blood. So I do have a bit of a unfair advantage to that. But I think with anything, it's a skill. And I think as adults, there's not often we kind of come into a space where we feel really uncomfortable, and it's sort of, that's like, oh, this hurts my brain, I don't quite understand it. And it's only because it's new. And I think when you get out of practice of that learning, then it can feel really confronting. But I don't think that anyone is born bad at tech. I think it's just you haven't been experienced to it. And then because you've maybe created a story around that, you've then avoided it. So it's now, it now becomes anything that you're sort of avoiding, or, might be saying someone who's got a fear of heights. It's not that you're more likely to fall off a building because you have a fear of heights. It's just you're now going to, avoid that situation. Anytime you're in it, you're going to feel 10 times worse. So I think it can be, the tech is super friendly now. They all have little AI bots in them now as well to help you if you ever get stuck, or kind of create them for you. Or there's so many templates, like, start simple, do it piece by piece. And then also, again, we're all grown-ups, and if you do get to a point where you're like, I just hate this, and you can afford to, then there are people out there who can, like, there's tech VAs who they love this stuff, and they happily be able to do it like 10 times faster than you might be able to do it. So I think there's options. And I think if we have online businesses, we have to be able to embrace technology, because that is the essence of an online business. So
100%. What has been the most surprising emotional win for you as a funnel nerd? So something that wasn't necessarily about money and metrics, but was there a moment that you were like, I've got it, I've made it?
I feel like, well, the example coming to mind is a recent one where we sort of turned our front end funnels upside down and then actually made them work better. And I was like, so previously when we were doing, because we've done low ticket offers for years on and off. And generally as ads start to get too expensive, we'll turn them off for a while and then I sort of have another run, because then our sales go there's definitely a tandem for myself and my business when we are or aren't offering them. But we found it really frustrating that we were kind of, whenever we had them running, even when they were running well, there would always be this limit. Like, we'd maybe be able to get to like 15 a day, 20 a day would be the top. And I'm like, I want to get to like 50 a day, or, I want to be able to really blow this up because of how well it works. And then, but yeah, there was always this kind of like dance around as you scaled up, ads costs got more expensive, etc. So one thing that I started to play with was, what if instead of driving traffic straight to the offer, which is kind of traditionally what most people do, because you think of it like a paid lead magnet, we went back to the old way of doing things, which was having like a tripwire and then a follow-up email sequence to that low ticket offer. So it's kind of like, because people are taking a little bit longer to make decisions now, and like I think there is that bit less trust. And lead magnets are actually less expensive than they used to be. So it sort of ticked all the boxes. I was like, oh, sure, this is kind of feels a little bit, 2015. Surely it's not going to work. And we tested it and it worked so well. And so that felt really fun because it was, I don't know, anytime I get to solve a problem and it's not just like, oh, it works okay. It's like, no, that works really, really well. Yeah. That makes me happy. Yeah.
Did you get to the 50 a day?
Sorry?
Did you get to the 50 a day?
Oh no, not yet. We've only just started we've started scaling the ads, but we've already gone past what we were at before. So,
I mean, that's a lot of cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Do you know that's something that I miss I bet you even know a tech way around this. Have you ever had a Shopify site?
I've played with it, but I've never actually.
Shopify, when you make a sale, gives you the notification, and if you've got the sound on, goes cha-ching.
Yes.
Which is a very happy sound. But we don't have that in any of our Stripe checkouts, Thrivecart checkouts, Kajabi checkouts. It's not a thing.
I can tell you how to do it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this later. I'm like, I want that so bad. I've got to find that out later. That's going to be fun. What is your definition of a simple funnel, and how do you resist the temptation to overcomplicate it when we have so many different things that we can incorporate in?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, you need to decide what the objective of the funnel is. So is it unless you're a total unicorn, we're kind of gone of the days where one funnel can solve all of your business's problems. So I normally like to try and go, all right, is this a funnel? Is it trying to solve the problem of I need more leads and I need that, without paying lots of money for them? Or is this funnel solving a problem of I need to be making more consistent sales?
Yeah.
And there's always a little bit of overlap between the two, but I think it's important to decide what's the actual most important thing.
Yeah.
And then from that, you choose what's then therefore going to be the easiest to sell offer. Some offers work better on Evergreen than others, and it's usually those ones that are a bit easier to understand, that haven't typically needed phone calls to convert, something that they can see it, they can get a bit of information about it and, be able to make that decision.
Yeah.
And then you match whatever that is you've chosen to, okay, well, what's the best type of, what's the best sort of conversion mechanism for that type of offer? And then you just do that to start with. So if, for example, you had a DIY style program and it was $300 to $2,000, then a webinar is usually the best. So you, rather than going, okay, well, I'm going to have this opt-in, which is going to come into this, and then I'm going to have this low ticket, and then I'm going to have this webinar, and then I'm going to have this upsell and this whatever, I would just do the webinar. If that is the simplest and fastest way to get the outcome you want, start there, get that bit working, get that as your baseline, and then it's almost like Lego blocks. Then you can look at that and go, okay, well, this bit's working, but we need to get more people into it. Okay, well, then we add this Lego block. Or if this bit's working, but it's not really profitable, then we can add a different Lego block. But we just you start with the simplest way first.
And what tech stack do you like to use for that? I think I know your answer to run the webinars, but what's your favorite to use there?
I haven't had much luck doing all-in-ones because I like to be able to do more complicated things than most people need to be able to do.
Yeah.
But I think for a webinar funnel, you could easily do that in an all-in-one. I know you're a Kajabi person. I think you could definitely do it there. I think when it comes to funnels, you just want to be able to see your stats really easily. And that includes for any landing pages, for any sales pages, and also for your actual email sequences. And you want to be able to have goals in your email sequences, or a bit of logic, so that if someone purchases, you can easily pull them out of the sequence. Or if you need to if someone registers and someone attends but they don't, you can send a different person to email to that. So that's where I know some of them are kind of come a bit unstuck. So my personal favorite tech stack is ActiveCampaign for emails, although I'm mad at them about putting their prices up. So I actually recommend ConvertKit to everybody because it's close enough, and it's less than 10 times the price.
Yes.
Then I have just started actually using ClickFunnels for the landing pages and checkout, the new version of ClickFunnels, which hell must have frozen over because I used to hate ClickFunnels, but I like the new version. It's quite nice. It's quite clever. And that's pretty much all you would need to do.
I thought you were going to say deadline funnels.
Oh, and deadline funnel. Oh, sorry. Yes. No, you need to have a timer. You need to have a real proper timer. Yes.
Okay.
I always forget about deadline. They're just a given. They're just like, they're always there
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the thing that I am like, I have never used deadline funnels until yesterday.
Oh, okay. How'd you
signed up yesterday? I'm like, okay, we're going it. We're gonna optimize these evergreen funnels. Let's go.
Yeah. No, it's once you sort of realize how, like, once you've gone through one piece of software and you figure out how to do it once, you go, oh, this is actually quite easy. And now it's just a matter of like doing that with the next piece of software and the next, and then you're good.
Then you're there. Yeah. What are the most common mistakes that you see people make when they're like, my funnels aren't converting, and you get a little look in behind the hood? Is there consistent themes or errors that you see people make?
Number one is they just haven't put enough traffic through it. Yeah. So, like 20 people have gone through and I haven't made a sale yet. It's like, well, if you don't know the actual benchmarks you're kind of looking for, it can be hard to know, therefore, what success is or isn't. But yeah, definitely know what success looks like and making sure enough people have gone through that. Any numbers are statistically significant as well, because I think happens when you launch a funnel is quite often someone will get a sale on like the first day. It's almost like a little bit of like, good juju. And then they're like, oh yes. And then they don't get one the next day or the next day or the next day because they've only had a trickle of people going through and then they think it's broken. The other thing would be if they've used like untested things in their funnel. So that's why I recommend people start with like one sort of like Lego block at a time. And usually you want to either preferably test it live first, because it just gives you like an influx of traffic all at once. So you can look at the numbers and go, yes, this offer actually sells at this price point with these bonuses. Or yes, this webinar actually converts and people watch it to a certain point and there's people buying. So like you just want to know when you're building out your funnel that you're actually putting in stuff that works. So if you've set up something and it's all untested and it's really complicated and you don't have enough people going through it, it's going to be really hard to figure out what is broken. But,
is there like a rule of thumb for when you say like know your numbers and your stats? If you were running a cold audience lead magnet funnel, is there a percentage that you would expect that page to be working at before you were like, the page is broken?
Yeah, so for a lead magnet page, it's usually 35% would be the goal or more. For the actual, so that's whether it's a webinar registration or a freebie, like always look for that 35%. Then for the overall funnel, like regardless of what type of funnel, there's two numbers that we normally look at. Obviously, most important is ROAS. So if you're running traffic to it, and if the point of it is profit, then you want to make sure it is profitable. But
ROAS being return on ad spend for people that don't know ROAS.
Sorry. Yes. And then the next number you would look at is, and it's, I don't know why it's just not, but basically a 2% is kind of like your minimum conversion rate. So if you get 100 people opt in, you want to get 2 sales as a minimum. So for people to go all the way sort of through your sequence. So if you're not getting that, then you definitely need to do some work. But I think, if it's a low ticket offer, you would expect a lot higher than that. If it's a more premium offer, it may be that or slightly lower. So it kind of always, there's different numbers for different offers and different funnels, and it's a bit
they're
hard
good to have
generalize.
those benchmarks. 2% for sales, 35% for lead magnets. I love it. That gives us
in the
something
front
to work with.
at the other end.
Where does email automation play its strongest role inside your funnels, and where do people often misuse it? Like I know when I got my start, it was building Kajabi sites, and one of in probably my first 10 builds, there was a guy who was Californian, and that's what made me realize Americans can do things very differently to Australians. He had 72 emails in his like new friend nurture sequence. I was like, this is a lot. That's a lot. We have 6 in there. Where does email automation play its strongest role for you?
Well, I'm probably closer to your Californian friend with
Really?
yeah.
All the emails.
All the emails. And I know some people who have like a year's worth of emails they put people through and then they just start again.
Oh.
So and they update it with a different newsletter each week. So they're getting fresh content, but they basically have their journey mapped out and it has different offers throughout the year and it's just on a loop. So I think it can be as much or as little as you like. Because my business is mostly like, I'd say it's like 80% automated as far as the sales and marketing. I've got a lot of email marketing going on. So we have layers of funnels. We have our initial funnels, and then depending what people do in those funnels, they will then get moved through to next funnels and etc. So there's a couple of mine is that kind of big spiderwebby kind of thing that I advise people not to do, but or at least not start doing, because it all started with one 72-hour sequence and then got that was working and then like stacked it from there.
So 2025 is where we are right now. What is one funnel strategy that's working right now that wasn't really on the radar a couple of years ago?
I would say it's that sort of like going back to the good old days of the tripwire. Like I'm loving the tripwire right now just because of the ad spend and the ad costs. And I know.
Can you explain the tripwire for us?
Yes. So tripwire is like OG marketing. Like I had a tripwire on my, in like 2014 kind of thing. And I kind of never loved them that much because they only converted a couple of percent. I'm like, what's the point of this? Yeah. But we sort of now have the chance to be a bit smarter with them. And there's the tools allow us to do that. But basically, the tripwire is the point that serves is that when someone comes in to our world, they get made a just unbelievably amazing offer that is going to both, when they purchase, obviously it helps to cover your marketing costs. And I'm so a big believer of front end funnels, like fund your marketing. So any sales that come from this get reinvested back so that you can kind of keep this like little machine going. But also they help to add trust. And I think that's the layer that wasn't so important before. Because I know a lot of people are having much longer sort of times to purchase from people who are coming into their world. Like ours have like more than tripled what they used to be, because I think it's just, again, there's so many different reasons. And so I think anything we can do to actually show that, we are worth trusting. We have something to say. We are not scammers. We are any of that stuff. I think that's really important. So if people can get like a little taste test, and that's just gonna be something that's kind of happening all the time. And so you're kind of building this almost like second email list. Like you'll have your email list of subscribers and you also have an email list of customers, and those, you can then kind of get clever with different things that you market throughout the year, or I think it's good to even just watch how they behave when you make offers to them, because generally someone who's bought from you before, it's sort of like that marketing 101, that as long as they had a good experience, they're far more likely to buy again. So I find that this is just like it's not something that's going to solve all the problems tomorrow, but it just helps to build and sort of bring that positive momentum. And also, like I said, getting those notifications on your phone is fun. Even if it's $7, you go, yay!
Yes. So that brings me beautifully into the next question on pricing. So are you seeing patterns that are working really well right now? Like I know we've tested so many times, because the 7 to me drives me crazy, and going, really does it? But it works all the time. Is the 27, 47, 97 like works? I even tried like our $9.97 program for a while. I just did $1,000. Didn't sell.
That $3 makes a difference.
It's like so interesting. But are you seeing, going through funnels, is there certain price points that are working at the moment straight off ad spend? Is there something that people should be aware of with that?
I think, again, if the goal is that sort of customer acquisition or sort of lead acquisition front end piece, I know there was a bit of a trend about a year ago going like the really, really cheap, and that was like the $7 memberships or the $7, programs and things like that.
Like my nightmare.
Well, it, you know, like the point of what they were trying to do was, again, make it so unbelievably good that, you know, the ads cost would be lower, because if you're getting a lot more people who convert from that click through, then it's going to cost you less. I think the problem with that was that your average cart value from that then becomes very hard to make it like if someone's only spent $7 and then you want to upsell them to something, the most you can probably upsell them to is something maybe that's $30. Like it's, you know, and then again, like it just kind of
it's a lot
impacts
of volume that you need.
So we, like at the moment we're running 2 front-end funnels, and one is a $27 offer and one is a $97 offer. And the $27 offer, it has the $97 offer is one of the upsells and then a couple of others. And then same, like with the 97, the $27 is the order bump. So it's like it's the same offers, but they're just in a different order. The lead costs are pretty much the same. The $27 offer program is converting at nearly 5%, but the average cart value is 50. I only know this because I literally was looking at this before I jumped on. I don't normally remember numbers as well.
I love this. I love the numbers.
But like the average cart value is about $55 from that. Whereas the $97 offer is converting at about 2%, but the average cart value is $160. So it's actually, even though you're getting half the number of sales, you're getting still way more revenue. So my sort of, I think it's good to test these things, but I think if you are running that strategy, if it's possible, particularly if you are doing it as a tripwire kind of funnel versus running direct traffic to it, like if I was running direct traffic to a $97 offer, it would cost me like $500 to make that sale. It'd be stupid. But because you can do the lead magnet first, it just brings it right down. But I think if you're kind of tossing it up, going to like whichever the more expensive offer is, if you have a couple, I would probably start with that, particularly if you have a really strong sequence, because it's just going to give you more, like gives you more space to play. Like if you're making $150 a sale, then you can spend, you know, a lot more to make that sale than if you're making $55 a sale. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So once someone, you mentioned a little bit before at the beginning, and you were saying, you know, once something's working, if you dial it up, it can lose its effectiveness a little bit, or it can get more expensive. If someone has a funnel that is converting well, what's the best steps to take to scale it without kind of burning it out?
Yeah. So, I mean, scaling is never a straight line. It tends to go in steps, and sort of most people are able to sort of hit a point, particularly if like we're not talking like the low ticket, I think is a whole other beast if you're trying to, because you do the revenue you're getting back, like you just need to keep your ads costs so low, and that just kind of in itself puts a bit of cap on things. But maybe if you're doing a webinar funnel to like a $500 offer, for example, and I'm thinking about a particular client of mine, so she's had a funnel for this webinar funnel for nearly 6 years, and it's doing about 2 million now.
Wow,
and it's
the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah,
but
cool.
it took 6 years to get to that. Yeah. And it's very much been like kind of go up, get one level, and then you kind of go in and you refine. Like okay, how can you make sure that all of the, look at the open rates of your emails. Can we get them all to be 10% higher? Mm-hmm. Look at the, you know, it's that kind of obsessiveness that really takes it. Like I think it started about $20K a month. And now it's, I don't know, what's the maths on it? Like
200.
Yeah. So it's like, it's 10X. So, you know, that's very much it's not just about spending more on ads. Like the other thing I think is really important, which a lot of people don't know, is when you are running a funnel, is I think like just say if you had a 72-hour sequence in your funnel, you'd be like, okay, well, I assume everyone buys in 72 hours. That actually don't necessarily. And so it's really important to know actually what is the average amount of time it takes from a new lead to someone purchasing in a funnel. Like, is it 5 days? Is it 7 days? Because they might not be, again, depends on how your times and things are set up, but they might not even open up the webinar email till 4 days later. So they're not actually activating it for a little bit longer. So it's not always exactly how we intend it to be. And that was one of the things that she said. Like they'd test ads and they test them for like 3 or 4 days and they weren't seeing a good ROAS, so they'd turn them off. But it actually takes 7 to 10 days on average for their customers to buy. And so they had to actually just be more patient and wait for that full cycle to complete to actually see that it was working. So you have to kind of, if your plan is like, I want $1 million funnel.
The biggest thing I'm hearing from you with that is how important knowing your numbers is. Yes,
it is. And, that's why I think it's good to sort of invest in the tools that will allow you to see that. Yeah. I'm all for just getting started with whatever you've got and whatever you can afford. But there's definitely points where
you need better
kind of go. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Have you ever had a funnel flop? And what did it teach you about humility, resilience, or just plain strategy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I'm testing them all the time.
Yeah. It always surprises me what works and what doesn't. Like, I am constantly, when I test things, when I A/B split test, and I will pick the wrong one often.
Well, so one thing that I tested recently was having people, they come into a lead magnet, usually through like Instagram. And then I had some people going directly to a 72-hour offer. And then I had the second set of people, they had about 5 days of like really great value and stuff first. And then they saw the 72-hour offer. And I was like, well, surely people they need a bit more warming up.
Yeah.
No.
See, I would pick the value one.
Yeah, the direct one converted 3 times better.
3 times?
3 times, not even a small amount. It just so much better.
See, I would have picked the wrong one. I'm like, warm them up with the value. Show people what you got. Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes people are just ready to go. So, yeah.
And this is why I think testing and measuring everything is so worth it, because you just don't, and things change all the time. Buyer behavior changes all the time. Even I was talking about this the other day with social media with our recent launch and going, what worked in previous launches is different now and will probably be different in future launches as well. So you've got to always have this mix and this beautiful constant experiment going on.
Yeah. Know your fundamentals, and then you play with you have your sort of margin to play on top.
Yeah. Okay, so my last question for you is a question that I ask everyone at the end. What does success look like for you? What are you building in your business?
Success for me is just being able to basically do the work that I love when, where, and how often I want. That's sort of it. I just like that autonomy of being able to.
Aren't we so lucky? I always think I don't know how people are not self-employed. I just don't know. I'm glad we have people that work for us and work for other people. We need that. But I don't know how you could ever choose it. After this, when we finish this episode, it's going to be about 2:30 in the afternoon. I'll take myself for a little walk. I'll play with the dogs for a bit. Then I might come back to my desk again. We just have so much beautiful freedom.
Yeah, it's the best, but I don't know. There's still, I think you definitely have to have the right you have to be a bit crazy as well to do this, I think.
Yeah. Well, you have to, so I shouldn't say, it's not all walks and playing with the dog. You have to be able to risk, and you have to be able to grit in, and when times are good, enjoy the good times, but know that the bad times will come as well, and ride that roller coaster as we go.
Yeah. So if you're not an adrenaline junkie, it's probably not for you.
Yeah. Awesome. Kate, thank you so much for sharing us all the good stuff. We'll link to all of Kate's beautiful resources in the show notes below. You're an absolute champion. Thanks, Kate.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.